Hi boys and girls, take two. I accidentally hit stop recording. So anyways, let's see, where did I leave off? So my dad comes home from work and finds her gone, all of her stuff gone. Remember that the kids she had in the Philippines by her choice. My dad and her's plan in the long run was to buy a home in the Philippines, retire, grow old. Granted, I mean, she wasn't really old. My dad was getting old. She was not. She had other plans on her agenda, obviously. So they end up getting a divorce. She takes off, wipes the bank account, $20,000. The kid's still in the Philippines. There was question of her cheating on my dad. And the fact that she wiped out the bank account, she committed mail fraud, claimed residency in California so that way she could file a false report against my dad saying that he was verbally abusive and wanted to file a restraining order against him, even though she was in the state of California and my dad's in Florida. And my dad can barely get on a plane at the time because his health drastically declined throughout their marriage and has so since because of the divorce, and there's just been so much stress. Again, so they have a messy divorce, another $20,000 for attorney's fees. The court, for some reason, just loves Desiree. They see a little immigrant woman crying, and it's all of a sudden it's the end of the world, and they see some old dude who took advantage of her. But if anything, she took advantage of us, and the United States does not recognize that, nor does immigration, nor does ICE, which I even went to the lengths of writing a letter to the president, and I've contacted ICE on a daily basis, the sheriff's office. I mean, this lady's crazy. She would yell at my dad while he would just sit there and take it. She would run around. She had a knife that she hid under the bed. I mean, she's nuts. So anyways, she tries to take the house. The divorce happens. She doesn't get the house, thank God. However, Dad thought that was the end of Nightmare 1. No, it was not. The court screwed up, and for some reason, they ended up having DNA tests, even the kids in the Philippines. Dad tried to disestablishment of paternity. That didn't work. And because that didn't work, we did the DNA test. DNA test said, that the kid was my dad's. However, here's the thing to remember is that when she lived in California, she filed that bullshit report about verbal abuse, whatever, ended up getting thrown out. And she also, in that report, stated that my dad can't kidnap his daughter she was scared that my dad was going to kidnap the daughter. But here's the funny thing. The daughter is supposedly in the Philippines. And also, I forgot about this. This was important. The day she left, she had my dad's best friend email her mom or whoever it was in the Philippines. She lied to my dad, said she needed my dad's passport, social security, and birth certificate. And she had my dad's best friend scan it. Why he scanned it, it's beyond me. I think that he's in it with Desiree, but can't prove it. Anyways, long to the short, so she sends all that information. That's identity theft, I think, but everybody in whatever organization says it's not, which is bullshit because she lied and she scanned those documents and sent them to whoever, wherever. So now we have, let's get back to present day. So now my dad's going through a terrible, it's almost like a divorce part 2, where he's had to get a new lawyer, and the court, the state of Florida, is Monroe County per se, is mandating that my father pay $650 US dollars to Desiree, to whom is supposed to forward the payment to her grandmother, who is to use that money for child support. And part of that money is coming from medical bills because my dad's daughter, for some reason, burned her hands from an electrical plug. Well, here's the funny thing. If she was being watched or cared for correctly, then she wouldn't have had burns on her hands to begin with. But you know, who cares about that? Nobody. And also, here's the other thing. Those medical bills, state of Philippines uses a social welfare system, meaning they get like Medicaid and they get free medical care. But yet, for some reason, Desiree is saying that there are hospital bills. And here's the other thing, is that she is a recipient, as is the daughter of PhilHealth, which is, again, that social welfare, medical, whatever. But however, the state of Florida fails to recognize that there were no actual hard copy documents ever submitted during court, which notates the actual price of the bills. But anyways, so my dad has to pay it in accordance, as well as the arrearage for child support and some other bullshit. But the funny thing is that they did consider that the Philippines uses a peso, which, you know, $100 to 1 peso that's a shit ton of money. And, you know, my dad's barely making ends meet, and now, you know, Desiree goes into court and she holds like a picture of a baby and starts just bawling, and all of a sudden the judge is like, oh, you know, ooh, poor Desiree doesn't have a lawyer. Well, she doesn't have a lawyer because she's a manipulative bitch, and every dollar that she stole from my dad, you know, gone. And as far as like them considering that business in the Philippines that was supposed to be still going, nope, they didn't even consider that. So the state of Florida is mandating my dad to pay Desiree, a kid in the Philippines, okay, that's never been in the United States, so it's completely out of their jurisdiction. You know, again, never lived in the United States, nothing. Does not have actual citizenship, was only fathered by the child. Is mandating that, you know, that kid gets $600 US dollars to the Philippines. Well, they're getting a shit ton of money a month. And the state of Florida has also, I mean, it's just, pardon my French, fucking crazy. And my hopes is that, you know, I've contacted customs, I've contacted so many people, nobody listens. Nobody recognizes that a 31-year-old Filipino who married, you know, an old dude who was doing fine before he met this bitch, who has, you know, been in and out of doctors, whatever, just because stress has been just so crazy. You know, they think that, okay, well, my dad took advantage of her. Nope. Doesn't work like that. The bitch took advantage of my dad. My dad actually loved her, and she got what she wanted. She got a green card, and she took off. And when you think of marriage fraud being like a really serious case, but guess what? People don't care. And if you Google it, there's nothing on it because it's few and far between for people to actually get busted for it. I have evidence that proves that she obviously committed it. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that, you know, a 30-year-old who married somebody who's, you know, mid-60s and, you know, is married for just the right amount of time, and then abandons the marriage, essentially, she did, now is considered the victim of some bullshit, and now my dad's being also ordered to pay for the kid to come to the United States. Desiree doesn't have to pay a thing. It's all my dad. Why? Well, it's because Florida or Monroe County is fucking backwards, and I think this needs to go to the Supreme Court. Because again, they are creating this false jurisdiction for a kid that's in the Philippines. I mean, for all we know, the kid could already be here because she had that bullshit report in California which said, you know, dad can't go to California and kidnap the kid. Well, guess what? Well, how can my dad kidnap a kid if the kid's in the Philippines? Well, here's our hypothesis. My sisters and I think that the kid's already here. She does have that first child by whoever the fuck it was in the Philippines. And we think that that kid is going to be brought over being posed as my dad's daughter, not the actual daughter, because we think that the actual daughter is already here. So anyways, that's kind of where we're at right now. We're still in the middle of the court case for as far as like the kid stuff goes, and my dad's trying to do an appeal, but we have yet been unsuccessful because the bitch keeps filing my dad for contempt even though he is paying, and then some. So Donald, if you're deporting immigrants, I think you need to look into my situation because it's fucking crazy, and it is really taking a toll on me, my family. It has taken a toll on my college career. I, had to put everything off to help my dad and clean up his mess, and yeah, I'm still not in grad school, which I should have been. My sisters had to stop their life to help him. It's just been, and if he would have never married her, it would have been so different. But however, he did, and she's a lying, scandalous bitch who needs to get caught. She's committed a number of crimes and keeps getting away with it. It's crazy. God bless America, And thank you, Obama, for signing those papers that lets immigrants just come over and do whatever the fuck they want, because, I have nothing against immigrants. I'm far from being prejudiced. I have many, many friends that are of other diversity. I am just appalled by how people abuse the system, and then they just get away with it. I don't think it's fair. This is my first time ever posting anything like this. I don't even know if it's going to get views or whatever, but again, I went to the extent to write the damn president, so screw it. Why not YouTube, right? So if anybody knows a little bit about immigration law or anything, feel free to post a comment, subscribe, or write Donald and say, hey, if you see a lady named Desiree, I can't really name the last name. I don't really know how that whole legal thing goes. In customs, somewhere in the state of Florida, that'd be great. Deport her ass, because she committed marriage fraud. It's very obvious. Not to also mention that this wonderful little lady, when she claimed California residency, she did that by having my dad's name added to her joint savings account. It was a Florida bank account where those statements were forwarded to an address in California my dad, nor I, nor any of my sisters had ever seen, just for a short increment of time, so that way she could claim residency in California. Then she changed it and then dropped dad's name off that savings account. That's mail fraud. And as she was doing that and saying she claimed she was living in California during a certain time, she was also collecting state benefits from the state of Florida while she was living in California. So yes, thank you, United States. Those are the people that you're bringing in, and those are the people that are getting away with all the bullshit that that you just don't care about. And you say ICE is the people to call. Well, they're not. I walked in with a bunch of papers, immigration was turned away. It's hopeless. Like, if I think somebody needs to be investigated, deported, arrested, thrown away the key, it's her. And I hope, Donald, that you do something. You can build a wall. I don't give a shit. You can push her off the wall. But maybe this will get me somewhere. Maybe it won't. So, election year 2016. Yay.